So we have a young living couple from Canada with a great story of a cross-country move with their 4 children and consistency in their young living business that has led them to Diamond. So let's dive into it all, up next. Hi there, Oil Family. I'm Brett. This is The Leader's Instinct, a Team YL web series and podcast brought to you by TeamSense. Go ahead and subscribe to this channel so you don't miss any daily content. Today, we're featuring Reagan and Danny in the YL Oil family from Canada. So let's jump right in. Hey guys, thank you both for taking the time. Let's start with a little introduction to help everyone get acquainted in case they don't already know you guys. Feel free to introduce yourselves. Let everyone know your names and how many years you've been using Young Living products.
Hi, my name is Reagan Jewitt, and this is Danny Jewitt, and we have been in Young Living since 2009, but doing the business since 2013, and I am a Young Living, we are Young Living Diamonds.
Cool. So how about your Young Living journey? How did you first get introduced to Young Living?
At the time I owned a yoga studio, and one of the yoga instructors there used oils, and she started gifting me some oils. So she gifted me a bottle of Joy, and she asked, if we could diffuse them in the studio, which I said yes to right away because I absolutely fell in love with them right away and loved how they, created the atmosphere for a yoga studio. And I just eventually, we ended up moving, and Wendy, my enroller, ended up buying the studio. But as we moved, I knew I wanted to continue with Young Living and ordering, so that's when I actually opened my own account and joined Essential Rewards. And then we used the products. We have 4 kids, so eventually started using them on the kids a little bit more and realizing more of their uses. And in 2013, there was that time where the new compensation plan was coming out, and there was just kind of a lot of excitement over this new comp plan and the business. And my enroller, Wendy, ended up contacting me again and just saying, hey, have you looked at this new comp plan? I think that this is something we could do. She wasn't really doing the business fully either, but we just kind of went over it together and learned it, and I thought, why not give this a bit of a shot? So that's when I started actually teaching classes and sharing on Facebook and stuff that I was learning.
Cool. And speaking of sharing, in terms of the different types of sharing methods, obviously there's no one right way to share, but with all the different types of sharing there are these days with online, in-person, large classes, small classes, what's your favorite type of sharing method?
Mine is classes, like smaller type classes. I do big events as well and go and speak and stuff. But I'd say the bulk of my business has come from the smaller type classes. Facebook is great as well. I feel now, though, I use it more as a tool for connecting with people that are already members and further education and stuff like that. But what's your favorite way of sharing? Danny likes to...
Well, so for me, it's more about conversations and just sharing stories. It's often just one-on-one conversations where I share, what Young Living is and how it can help people, how it helps us. So
well, Danny does a lot with the kids and a lot of running around, so he is in a lot of circles. So sometimes with oils, it's pretty simple of just putting the oils on and
totally.
It starts a conversation with people. Danny does a lot of that initial networking part of it for us.
Got it. Yeah, I was going to ask around the building relationship side. So once you first got started in terms of building relationships outside that initial friends and family circle, is there any advice you like to give people how to continue the relationship building activity outside friends and family just on an ongoing basis?
Well, for us, definitely the moving has helped. That gets you meeting new people in different circles. But when I talk to people who maybe don't have that opportunity or don't want to move, I just say, whenever you host a class and say you have 5 people come and 3 of them enroll, those 3 people you enroll, you have the potential of tapping into maybe their 100 closest friends and family. So once I started just kind of tapping out of our own circles, going to other people's houses and hosting parties for them really helps to develop new relationships and keep things growing. I also recommend too, just what's a hobby that you've always wanted to do or something that you're passionate about? Just go into a new class, or go join a running club or go into a knitting class or whatever your passion is, just to meet new people, and the conversation will eventually come up.
Yeah, that's fantastic. You mentioned classes are sort of your favorite sharing method. When it comes to an inviting strategy, how do you like to, fill the seats of the class and make sure people actually show up when you do the inviting?
Well, first of all, this entails quite a bit of work beforehand, and it's about creating relationships with people beforehand and having those conversations and one-on-one time with people. So getting people interested so that you can then fill the class. So once I feel like I have kind of, enough interest going on and have had enough conversation with people, then I'll host a class, and then I'll set up a Facebook event and invite them, but you can't just depend on that. I will also private message them and let them know about it, or if I see them in person, talk to them about it in person, kind of thing. And if I see people have said they're going on the Facebook class, I'll follow up the day ahead or whatever and just ask them if they're still planning on coming or whatever. And that's basically how I do it.
Great. And when you actually are doing the class, do you have a certain script or type of class you like to do in terms of format, or do you go more of the freestyle or individualized approach class to class?
This has definitely changed throughout the years. I've been doing this for 5 years now, so I've experimented with a lot of different ways and different things. Sometimes now I totally wing it, or sometimes I go in with a plan and it totally changes as I see the crowd or what, I think hearing what people's needs are. I like to open with just sharing their name and kind of why they're here so that I can gauge what they're looking for. But as a beginner, I say, bring a script. And I had printed out a slideshow. We didn't have game plan or anything yet. So I had printed out a Young Living slideshow, and I just had that there for my reference, if I kind of froze up or didn't know what I was going to talk about next, because I was pretty nervous my first time. And so it was notes to follow, but I wasn't just simply, reading them. I think you need to really share your own experiences as well. But I have, when the game plan book came out, I did do some of the script, and that was kind of fun. I change it up every once in a while. Sometimes I'll also use just the product guide. So I'll give everybody a product guide and we will go through that together. Because, you get the farms and you get a little bit about the company. So that really outlines a great class as well, the product guide.
As health and wellness is all about that consistency and lifestyle, do you have anything you like to say or do when you're educating and inspiring your team to have that consistency and to join Essential Rewards?
Definitely, everything is about being consistent, whether it's health and wellness or whether you're doing this as a business. You need to be consistent in anything. So I think just showing that consistency within yourself and, that this is a lifestyle, that definitely helps to increase Essential Rewards members.
Is there anything you like to do to help inspire them to then start sharing Young Living with others?
I find that kind of happens naturally as well. As long as you're demonstrating and showing that this can be a business and that it is a business and that there's the opportunity there. There's a couple people that I reach out to, that I think might be good at this or that, but a lot of the time I let people just kind of decide for themselves that this is something that they want to do.
Got it. Say they do have that interest and they want to start sharing, but if they're maybe a naturally shy person or they think they don't know anybody to share with, is there anything you like to do to help either get the shy people, help them out of their shell a little bit to share?
Well, I'll always, as a leader, offer to go and teach for them for the first, first I'll do one with them and then I'll do a class where we both do it, and then the next time they're on their own, but maybe I'll come and just help with questions or whatever. So I will do that if we're local. We've even done where a leader is Skyped in with a person who, if they're not local, just they're not Skype anymore, but go in on Zoom or whatever, just to make them feel more comfortable, and just do some training that way. I do share though, like I am not a public speaker. I was very shy. I'm more introverted. I was really scared doing my first time. I think you just have to share your own stories, and I find it goes from there. Or some people will do DIYs too, because they find it's more interactive and not everyone's just sitting there staring at them in a room. So that's a good starter place too if you have kind of that fear of sharing. And you can always share online now too. There's all kinds of people that build with online parties and different things as well.
Right. And you mentioned that the being an introvert or having that natural shyness. Was there any sort of a big aha moment or a breakthrough for you figuring out how to really get past that fear, or was it just consistency and pushing through?
Yeah, for me, it's been a gradual, just keep doing it, and it just keeps getting easier. I remember everything, starting even first monthly webinars. At first I would be so nervous doing those. Now I could just hop on and probably not prep anything and just, talk. The more you do something, the better you're going to get at it, and it gets easier. I don't think there was just one moment where all of a sudden I was like, ah. But there was the last talk. I still get quite nervous when I'm doing speaking in front of large groups of people. But the last talk I did, I was like, wow, my voice wasn't shaking. I felt confident, and I felt totally different than I've ever felt when I was public speaking. So that really felt finally, maybe I'm getting over this, the big group thing. Yeah. So, every time you do it, and it feels really good to challenge ourselves and do things that we're scared of, which, yeah, it's important to just do it, and you're going to feel so good afterwards.
Preparation prior, if you're looking at something to give somebody, if they have their notes, if they've wrote out what they're going to say, if they're, practiced, that can go a long way too, just getting over that initial hump.
Very cool. And, at the beginning of the journey, was there a big breakthrough to say, this is, this really helped me, make that big growth spurt in the business, or just really figuring things out? Any specific moment or activity that you figured out?
Well, this isn't exactly what you're asking me, but I do remember a real aha moment when I hit silver of getting that this could be a business. That really, before that it was hey, I'm just kind of doing this. But when I hit silver, and you get to go on silver retreat and you see the paycheck of a silver, and that's when I was wow, this is actually a legit business opportunity. And that's where I really stepped it up to treat it more like that than just something I was just teaching classes every so often. So that I do feel the business is changing constantly. I feel with all the new technology and different things, there's lots of different ways to build, and I really coach and teach that you need to find what you're passionate about. What do you enjoy doing in this? There's so many different ways you can go about it, and but there's going to be certain things that you do that you fill your bucket up. So I say just kind of focus on those areas. If you hate Facebook, you don't have to build on Facebook. You can do it other ways. So just do it in a way that works for you.
Is there any really common aspects or struggles in the Young Living business that you end up spending most of your time helping your team with?
I'd say the ups and downs. With network marketing, 1 month you might have 10 signups, and the next month you have 2, and just dealing with kind of that a bit of roller coaster. I go through it myself, in which Danny is my support person for that, and but I help other people too go through that, or their business really grows and then they flatline for a bit, or maybe even drop for a bit, and so it's usually just coaching people through that to stick with it and just keep going. It's going to come back up just as long as you keep your effort there and your consistency.
So with consistency, do you have call it a top 3 IPAs or income producing activities that you like to inspire your team to really focus their time on?
With like Jordan Schrant teaches that you need to always be enrolling people. You always need, new members. You need to be focusing on a way to do that, and you need to focus on getting people reordering. So that's training them about the other products, having other types of classes and events for your current customers. And then you also need to just also be focusing on teaching people how to share. So it's really, the business is pretty simple. It's basically those 3 things, but there's lots of different things that you can do within those.
So if you could go back, if you had to get back to your rank today and start over, is there anything you'd change or do differently if you could start today?
I don't think so. It's for me, it's happened in a really natural way. The business started out, it felt very natural and easy to share with people. And, I think we've done a pretty good job of keeping life and work pretty balanced. I mean, it's not always, there's times where I hustle, and, Danny and I will talk about that, and he'll know that I'm going to hustle a little bit more during these periods of time. So, but I feel like you got to keep your priorities straight, I guess, of why you're doing this, and just stay balanced in it as best that you can, while still making sure you're doing the work.
And, having the balance of family and children and the Young Living business, any words of wisdom to, others that might be in the same struggle right now, trying to balance that home and family life with the ambition of wanting to build the business?
For me, it's like disconnecting at certain times, which I have to sometimes I fall away from it and come back to it, but just getting off the phone or turning it off once the kids are home for a while, or weekends. I'm really trying to create weekends so that they're more of a family time. Of course there's exceptions where we're going to have different Young Living events, but with the digital age now, I think any job you can fall into being attached to your phone and working 24 hours a day, and I just don't think that that's we shouldn't be doing that. So making set hours of when you're working and when you're available.
What would be one piece of advice you'd want to give to anybody either wanting to grow a Young Living business, if, say, they're product users now and they're considering wanting to build a business, or they've just started and they really have high aspirations? Any words of wisdom or just general advice to someone early on in their journey?
The opportunity is huge, and there is still such a huge market available. The essential oil industry is rising. We need to be ambassadors to teach people the difference of essential oils and how pure and therapeutic Young Living oils are. And yeah, I just think if you're willing to do the work and be consistent with it, the opportunity is huge. But don't think it's going to come just easily. You need to work at it too, just like anything. You need to treat it like a job if you do want to do this as a business.
Great. And Danny, any words of wisdom for the husbands or the male Young Living folks out there?
I don't know. When you asked that question initially, my thought went to just how important it is to strategically set up your legs. The way Reagan set up her legs and the team aspect that she had in her early years was what set our organization on the path to success. So if you can be kind of cognizant of the people that you're placing, initially or back at the start, I think that's something that. Are there
any pitfalls to avoid there on that topic?
There's a lot of different opinions on how to build, but I've taken the method of just having 6 on my front leg, for now anyway. So I like to help leaders and help people build. So I focus on, those 6 people, and then of course the leaders within their organizations as well. So I kind of more Lindsay Moreno style, the 6 and 6.
I really appreciate you guys taking the time. Is there any sort of closing, comments you'd like to share? Maybe the topics that I didn't bring up that you think would be useful for people to hear as they're on their journey?
I think we have such a wide variety of products and different directions you can go that you can find any way to do this in a way that works for you and your path. There's just so many options available. It's a great setup. I love the network marketing model and being able to create our own hours and move if we want, and just a real sense of freedom there. So if that's something you're looking for.
Love it. Well, again, thank you so much for taking the time. This has been a real pleasure, and you're both a wonderful inspiration to all our Crossline friends that they can learn from. So thank you again for taking the time.
Thank you for thinking of us, Brenton, and good luck on the next road tour.
So our goal at TeamSense and the Leader's Instinct podcast is to provide as much value to the entire Team YL community to help bring Young Living essential oils into every home in the world. So YL family, that's it for this chat. As this content may be useful for someone on your team to hear or a Crossline YL friend, it's over to you. Tag an oil friend below and go ahead and subscribe to this page. It really does help this channel out so all of our Crossline oil friends can see this education too. I'm Brenton, and this has been The Leader's Instinct, a Team YL web series brought to you by TeamSense. Now let's all help each other climb the ranks faster, make more time for our why, and inspire others to wellness, purpose, and abundance. Thanks for listening.